Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are discussing Jordan Peele, Monkey Paw Productions. And right now, we're going to switch over to the other side. We're going to talk about the one we've been waiting for, the ones that is polarizing. Let's talk about us. I believe I believe we've already placed the question about which film is better. I think we kind of tapped on it a bit, but let's go in swinging. What would you change about us? Let's start with Kevin.
So I mentioned that I think it worked. It was a little less believable as this actually happened, even within the universe of the film. So I started to accept it only as this must stand for something else. This is about class struggle. When she says we're Americans, ooh, got you, America.
Right.
I responded to us more on that level, and there's definitely things to take from it. So that's just my feeling in general. Yeah.
Peter, what would you change about the film Us?
Man, how much time we got? Brother, this movie, man, like I had such high hopes for, man. I'm serious. Where do I begin? I guess where do I really want to begin? Let's begin in the beginning. From what I said about the whole, I even have it queued up on here. There are thousands of miles of tunnels beneath the continental United States, abandoned subway tunnels, unused service routes, and deserted mine shafts. Many have no known purpose at all. This is just in my opinion, when you come out with the opening, scene with this information,
yeah,
and then you cut to that, and you cut to like rabbits, and then you cut to a little girl watching Hands Across America, and then you cut to people in the car going, this movie was, in my opinion, fellas, but this movie was too cryptic. It was way too cryptic for you to sit down and watch, black or white, and just watch the movie straight through and say this was the greatest movie of all time. I've got everything in the film. This movie probably looked better on paper, maybe. And to touch on what Kev said, you said that that was one of the ones that got me, Kev, when you said, "Oh man, who are you people? We're Americans." Okay, now, okay, all right, black or white. I was in the theater. First of all, when she spoke first with when she spoke with that, many people started to laugh in the movie theater.
Oh,
many people started to laugh when she began to speak, and I kind of was looking around like what, why, and me, this me, I kind of was looking around like, why is she talking like that? And then she hit you with the "we're Americans." People started laughing at that because I'm like, but mind you, because I was looking at it and I didn't understand where the angle was coming from, and then it made me start to nitpick every little thing I saw, fellas. Like okay, after she says that, and he goes up to his doppelganger and pulls. The only thing he does to this man is pull him by the leg and drag him just a couple feet. And then the next thing you see him outside, and he's like, he's out of breath and all. I'm like, he didn't do nothing to you, man. He just dragged you outside. It made me start to nitpick every little thing after that scene, man. And I was like, it was just an onslaught of like, why the kids acting like this? Why does the little girl look like she ain't showered? Her little doppelganger ain't showered in like 2 weeks. Like, I'm like, and it became a lot of this stuff in the scenes, I'm not gonna lie, fellas, was comical. I started to laugh at it. And it just fell apart for me. It fell apart. A lot of things in the movie just fell apart for me. I would have changed. I don't know. It's just so many things I would change in the movie. Oh, and touching on, sorry, I know I'm probably gonna be everywhere with this, but touching on the music, the score to this film. Okay, now the song "I Got 5 About a Luna" is originally, if you listen to that, and I remember that back in the '90s, that was a great, I guess, instrumental to play with this. And like we talked about how he freaked it, he chopped it up, and he slowed it down. Yes. And it worked for the preview. It worked so good. I thought that the music in this film outdid them, or it shouldn't have been in this film. I think that he should have went back to the drawing board and actually the music should have complemented the film, or the film should have complemented, and it just didn't work for me. The music was phenomenal, and then
yes,
that was great. But I think that it just didn't. It didn't go with the film. I mean, even like when she came down inside at the end of the movie, and like I don't know what I keep calling them doppelgangers, but because man, y'all, I'm gonna ask questions here that you guys are probably going to shine light upon, because there's so many things that I did not get and references that I didn't get about the film. But one of the things that toward the end of the film, where she descends, down, I guess, on the ground, the way that they looked. Like when she's reenacting, when it flashes back to the little girl walking through and her parents in front of her, and the way that they're looking, like it started to it was, to me, this wasn't a horror movie. It was like a dark comedy. It didn't work for me at all. It just it was frustrating because I had so high hopes for Jordan, man. I was rooting for him. I was like, come on, baby, let's do this. And it fell apart, brother. It just, there was so many things. It was bad. But the makeup jobs are horrible. Like the burn, the little boy is trash. I'm sorry. They could have did a better job. Why did everybody have scissors? Why was everybody dressed like they DOC? Like, I'm like, is that? I don't know what that is. A lot of things. Sorry, I didn't mean to take you much of your time, but that kind of made me upset watching this.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II played her father when she was young.
Okay.
Winston Duke played the dad of the family. I understand them giving to a black man a role that he didn't have to be macho. Instead, he was almost goofy. He actually let his wife be almost the head in everything. And there were times that he even checked with her to make sure, this was okay, what they should do next. However, there were times that him, as well as the father of the white family, I can't remember their names, Misty and something, but their tethered doppelgangers were like laughable. They were like goofy. They were grunting and everything. The way that they moved, the way that they acted was like, why is it such a difference between them and even the kids? And of course, Lupita's two, sides, or her doppelganger Red. I actually wish that they would have changed. How do you feel about this before I go in my other one or two? Give Yahya Abdul-Mateen the role as the dad in the family. Give Winston Duke the role as her father in the carnival in the beginning. Let Yahya be the one who, instead of being goofy, instead of, kind of playing that submissive role, let him be a bit more as a man would have been in that situation. There were times that Winston Duke got hurt and he let his wife drive, and she's like, let me go and check such and such. And he's like, yeah, go check. And I'm like, man, even if my leg was torn off, I'd still be like, no, I got it, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just wonder how those roles would have been changed had that actor played that role and that actor played that role. But that's in a perfect world, Another thing would be when they started spitting all that exposition. It was already a kind of a convoluted plot, I give you that. But you were over explaining everything about it, and it got to be like the Peanuts when you hear that French horn and wah 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 wah. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're telling me this, and it's underground and it's below, and like you said, it's everything about class and all of that. But Okay, I've heard it. Now I just want to see. You've explained it too much. And you just keep going on and on and on about it. So even at the end, when he's doing his twist and everything, you're reminding us once again of the carnival, and when she went into the House of Mirrors, you're reminding us of everything that you said up until that point, and it's like you're starting to beat me over the head with it. And you need to give the audience some leeway of saying we're smart enough to understand. Just showing us something, telling us a few times, and letting it go from that. And whether it's people who don't get it at the end, or whether it's some questions or whatever that may come after, but to tell me in the front, in the middle, and during, in between each kill, near the end, at the end, and then after that with the twist, I've kind of lost my place, So those two things really jump out at me as far as things that I would change. With a movie like Us, how would you all categorize it? Like we said before, whether it's psychological, whether it's a slasher at times, whether it's at parts it seemed to me like it was a home invasion for that portion when you first got to meet the other family, or the doppelgangers. If you had to put it under one, unless you can't, what category would you put this film in?
Go ahead, Kev.
Okay. I think there was more of the horror elements, especially when the white family started getting killed. That seemed really, I guess, shocking to me there, because they got like hard and fast.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like so why is it that this family, they're all dead in like 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And the other family is like played with and toyed with. But then again, I mean, they're the main family, so maybe that's why. Because I guess in this kind of home invasion thing, yeah, the targets are going to be played with. But it seemed like a bit of a mismatch to me that out of all of the tethered, there was only one family who was capable of doing things like playing with people. Everybody else killed with this brutal efficiency, except for the one tethered to the main family, which I don't know, maybe that served the film, but I think I did not find that satisfying in a narrative way. So that was just one thing. And yet, Javon, you had mentioned about people not even talking at all. I mean, and I know that Red was the only one talking, and there are reasons for that. But yeah, the other adults seem like clownish. Yeah, so when Winston Duke's tethered character is like barking or whatever he's doing,
right?
That was kind of funny to me.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been.
Right, and notwithstanding, when he hits Winston Duke's character on the leg and drags him out, and Winston is screaming bloody murder, which I thought was, why is he screaming like that?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was odd to me. But in the same dude, like, is going, he's barking like a seal, and I'm thinking, is that supposed to be scary to me? Because that was a mismatch. He's barking like a seal. I mean, yeah, he's strong, he's powerful, he's scary, but he's barking like a seal. And like, well, I can't take him seriously. But Winston screaming bloody murder like something happened, like that seemed like that didn't match up to me. So that prevented me from, I guess, responding to it as you'd think a home invasion would have you doing. I guess putting yourself in the shoes of the intended victims. But dude's making me laugh instead of making me scared. So that didn't work for me very well. So
I totally agree with that. The movie, you didn't know where to, like, where was the line drawn as far. And then that's another thing, Kaz, like the jokes. Like, I don't know. Like, okay, maybe
the dad jokes.
Yeah, it's the dad. You know what I mean? I didn't know where do you fear it and where do you not. Like, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it's like when you watch certain horror movies, it might be maybe like this much. Somebody might say something and laugh, and you're like, oh man, that's funny. But then the overall purpose of the movie is to fear. You know, it's to scare you.
Yeah.
This one was like after. I'm sorry, but after he said, I'll just floss it. You're right. He sounded like a seal. I mean,
right.
It didn't. So none of them could talk except for her. Like I don't know. It was so far fetched. It was just out there, and I was just trying with binoculars, trying to be like, where you at? Like, you know what I mean? It was disappointment. I was disappointed. I really was disappointed about this film.
Yeah, the comedy was placed in some weird places. Like when you're trying to get out of the house and get in the car and go to wherever you have to go, and instead you're arguing about who should drive. And the daughter has the nerve to say, I've killed the most people, I should drive. Yeah, and her dad in the shotgun seat says, no, I killed 2 people. I killed myself and I killed... And I'm like, killed yourself? Did he just say that? And then when they're in the house and they're talking about, I don't want this to be like a Home Alone thing. And the mom is like, Home Alone. And the kids are like, what's Home Alone? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, we're not going to start spilling micro machines all over the place.
Yeah.
You think that was put in there for people, you know, our age who would get that.
Right.
That's something I mentioned to my wife when we were watching it, that that's for us because we got that. But,
right.
I mean, yeah, micro machines. Okay, I mean that's pretty specific. It brought me back to what was that, the 90s, which okay,
easily.
It brought me back, but where do we go from there?
Right.
Yeah, I don't mind those references. I love old school, you know, 80s, 90s references. I mean, I'm a walking one of those. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like,
come on, man.
I don't mind them, but I think that I was prepared to be scared of this film. And instead the fear didn't come. The best part, the most scariest part of this movie, I mean jumping, you know, I'm not gonna answer that right now because I didn't answer the question. But the music was very well. Very good in this film. But it just didn't go with the film itself. It didn't go with it.
How about this? If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy. Now the cops are already on day one. I said, what?
Yeah, so you now the gangsters coming out in you, man.
Right. You know like, and then he ran back in the house scared.
Yeah, you run back in the house, like, come on. You holding the and you got the baseball bat.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I think the angle of this, you know, pretty suburban family, that's certainly not something you're looking for in a home invasion. I appreciated that it was something different.
Okay.
So yes, I mean, but that's the thing, because you are expecting in a home invasion someone to step up to the plate, and start wrecking things. But I think what this speaks to is that this film, you know, featured a Black family being, for all intents and purposes, normal.
Yes.
If the average audience, not the average audience, the average cast member, there was someone in there who was a victim of a home invasion and wasn't being macho, that probably wouldn't be something that you think would be out of the norm. I think putting a Black person in a normal situation just further solidifies that these stories are worthy of telling. Yeah. That it's okay for Black people to not be the Black person, but to be normal. So that's part of what I took away from the fact that dude is trying to be macho and he's really not there, but I think he's doing his best, even though maybe that's not what we would have done. Maybe that's not what we hope we would have done.
Or we may have all done it. Who knows?
We may have all done it. I thought it was an interesting angle. I think it's an interesting take on how does the victim and the star of this movie get portrayed. So that's like, maybe if that's a positive. I
appreciate that.
I thought it was kind of funny, but I had a weird reaction to it too when he said, "When you want to get crazy, let's get crazy." I'm like, what are you?
Right, and it didn't even sound believable.
It rubbed me wrong, but I mean, who's to say others might not have the thing? I had that kind of reaction, but you know, just for me, I just took away from it, you know, this person's acting like a regular person, and it's because the truth is we're all regular people. I think media film is starting to come around to that for people of color, and I think this was a stab in that direction.
I appreciate that statement, cuz I do. I mean, no, you're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
For you to highlight that like that man, that touche, brother. Because I'm not gonna lie, because when the scene where they were in the car and I think they were on the way to the beach, where he says, where she looks at him and she says, "Won't you just tell us the magic trick? That way we can just picture it." And he's like, "Won't you just kiss my anus?" My mom would have reached back that door.
Right. Exactly.
I'd have been killed on family vacation. but you know what, Kev, that you just said that that makes complete sense, and it's a shame. It really is a shame that I'm ashamed because he didn't act. You know, and brother, you touched on something too about the character, because I wanted to talk about that, how his character was portrayed on the film, and you guys both pretty much just, you know, put it out there that we were expecting it. Like, because you look at his character, I don't know his name, but he was M'Baku, right? And
yes.
And he was
Winston Duke. Yes.
He was
yes. Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? All that. But then you see him in this film, and I just was like, maybe it's just me nitpicking because I don't like the film. So I was like, who is this sniveling little punk? Like,
yeah.
You that big, and you're like, you want to get crazy with a baseball bat. Like, what?
It's quite the reversal, and I think that does speak to. It speaks to Winston Duke's range, even if we
That's true.
Even if we don't like it.
Yeah.
That speaks to his range, because yes, I have the same thought, especially knowing that Winston Duke was in the movie before it came out. I was like, oh yeah, M'Baku, he gonna do this thing.
Right.
He did not do this thing.
Nah.
He didn't do it. Lupita did that thing.
She did that thing.
He didn't do that thing.
But yeah, that speaks to his range, and that's good for him as an actor. I suppose. And I mean, this certainly wouldn't, I think, be the film that typecast him into a big hulking brute.
Right.
Even though he was a brute in Black Panther. So I think I don't know. It's probably too early to say he's going against type, but in my mind, it went against type. So it was. But sometimes I can appreciate when an actor's portrayal makes me mad at them.
That's true.
Is that because
great acting?
Is that because the acting was so good that I got into it? And I think that happened here, because I had the same reaction, like, come on, man, step it up. Especially when the kids are giving him sass. I'm like, oh, no. I'm thinking, not at my house.
Right.
Not in my car. That will come out of your mouth. He didn't even do that. So that was his character trait throughout, and it was consistent. So
it was.
But that's the thing, though, because Hollywood media is coming around to even a diversity of character traits for Black people. And I think it's another tool in, I guess, the universal toolbox that people are allowing themselves to see or experience, that a Black person can portray something other than a big hulking brute or a thug or a criminal. They can. We can be milk toast too. That's true.
That's true.
All of those things are part of the universal human experience, and
yes, sir.
We're getting towards that in this film. We're getting towards it. So I guess that is a positive. Like I said, I didn't like character. I like
same here, but I understood.
But it's something other than what we have seen for decades.
Yeah, so. You explained it perfectly. You explained it perfectly.
Yeah, you did.
Earlier, earlier we mentioned class as being one of the main allegories. Let's expound on that a little bit. Along with, was there anything else that we thought that the film did a great job or did a poor job of trying to convey or connect with things that we may deal with in society, in real life, or anything abroad?
Kev, you might want to take this one, Brad.
Peter, I like what you said about this seeing like it was us seeing better, the kind of film that's better on paper. than the actual things. I think this film could be the basis of all kinds of discussions about those themes. I think this movie was meant to mean something. Where I think Get Out was a good film that meant something. If you look at it that way, I think, like I had said, I appreciate large parts of Us only as allegory, and I think it doesn't take really that much digging to see where allegories can be drawn. I think the biggest one to me is just that the fact that there is a literal underclass that could stand in for the disadvantage of society today.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. But beyond that, like, what did the scissors mean? I can't go there.
Yeah.
What did the red robes mean? I can't get into that. And maybe that's not meant to mean anything, but I just had a big question at the end of the film. Like, okay, so they did Hands Across America. Why? What was the point of that? And again, I know the film ended there, so I'm supposed to, get up and leave the theater. Yeah. But it's part of what didn't really work for me, that we've got all this stuff, and that's why I chose to start thinking of, well, this must be an allegory for something to make me think about, versus, they finally did Hands Across America, and for what? Right. Why did this happen? Why? Yeah. But again, maybe because, the child read when she first came down there, she had seen that commercial, which was shown at the very beginning of the film. Right. And so that was a motivator for her to enact Hands Across America. But I'm thinking, what is this supposed to mean now? Because there must have been a reason for Hands Across America to be the thing that united and brought the tethered up above ground. What are you saying about Hands Across America? Or are you saying something about a charity? About, I don't know, Live Aid? Is it something like that? Where is this going? And I think this is probably part of a discussion that has happened somewhere, and would be great for, I don't know, I guess part of a college course. But I have been saying, I didn't get into it as a film. I get into this movie more as substance for a discussion. Okay. Because I don't think the plot worked as well.
I think that the Hands Across America had something to do with mainly the disenfranchised joining up and creating an uprising where they're connected now. It didn't work with, I don't know if he tied it in like this, but in real life, it was supposed to be this thing that was going to bring together homeless, the people who, had been going through many different things, that had celebrities, that it had regular people all coming to the same accord. And it was really supposed to be a thing where you're supposed to go outside of your house and hold hands with your neighbor, and it was supposed to connect all the way around the world. And it didn't work. I think people tried, and maybe a couple of hundred people got out there and just decided for whatever reason that it wasn't going to make a difference, or they didn't want to give any more time towards it. So I'm wondering if Jordan Peele's way of saying was almost like we're seeing today, whether it's with the police brutality, whether it's with us being treated as less than, whether it's with poor people being, stepped on, that we are supposed to not only rise up and reclaim who we were supposed to be, but also be at arms with each other and do what they couldn't do. So I'm wondering if that had something to do with it. Also, I believe that it was an issue about how, say, if you look at it as classism, as rich versus poor, there are times that the rich can do things that trickle down and affect the poor, but it's not the other way around. So that's why the people above ground could move and manipulate and do their own thing, and the people downstairs were just falling around, because whatever laws that you create, whatever things that you put in place to dictate, we sad to say have to fall in suit. So once things were reversed, and once now we get a chance to cause whatever uprising we feel is necessary. And the way that he put it was violence. And it's not the best way to go. However, in different countries, in different places, even now here in America, sad to say, things are actually happening in that accord. You've got people not only rioting, not only looting, not only burning, but you have people bucking up against the system. You have police officers being assaulted. You have police officers being killed. And so it's weird how this movie came out at the time that it did, which was just last year, actually, 2019. But that part of it, that small piece of it, still is spinning around to what's going on today.
I will say that I think the themes that we're talking about are very timely. That's why I think I'm responding more to us as the things you can talk about in the film, you can talk about them today. But like the film itself is like, I felt for whatever reason it didn't come together that well. And that's why I was talking like these what we're saying like right now. I think this would be definitely appropriate in some sort of space for discussion about these topics.
Yeah. But
was this movie? Is that what this movie was meant to do? Was it meant to? I think it was meant to get people talking. I mean, probably all films are. But it's just for this one, I think the plot didn't come together that well.
Okay.
But despite it being very, very timely.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it being rewatchable? How do you feel about a second viewing being warranted, or a third, or fourth, or fifth, or asking people, hey, do you want to come and look at this movie, or actually, sitting people down and wanting to show it to them? Were there things that were unearthed the following time that you checked it out, or? And I want you to go, Peter, because I believe that you should lead this off. How did you feel? How did you feel about that,
brother? This movie, I think you needed a dictionary, a master's degree in African American studies, a degree in social. I don't know. Like I said, to rewatch this film, man, was just maybe even a little bit more confusing than watching the first time. With Kev touched on something. I mean, maybe this film, excuse me, maybe this film was created to get you talking, because I would really love to sit Jordan down and go through this film scene by scene and
pick his brain.
Yes, because this one right here is I don't know, man. You guys, both of y'all touched on some things on an intellectual level. I'm sitting there, I feel like I gotta go run to Howard and sign up for African. Man, I'm like, I'm glad, but I'm glad that you said that, you was confused and the whole, toward the end of the film, because I feel like I don't know, my black card might expire. And I was hemmed up. I was hemmed up watching this film, man. I was hemmed up. Even just, I watched it before we got together on this call here.
I did too.
And I'll ask this question. The end of the movie was well, I'm going to say it was kind of confusing to me, but specifically when they were in one of the classrooms, her and her doppelganger was in one of the classrooms, or her tethered version of herself, whatever. And they were talking, and she basically her character comes down, and you see them pretty much exchange. So is the main character, his mother, is she really the doppelganger? I didn't understand that last scene. Like, what was that about?
I think so. I think, according to what we saw in the film, yeah, she originally was tethered. They ended up switching places in the very beginning. When the original Adelaide walked into the fun house, for whatever reason, the same time her tethered version also met her up at the mirror, and so that was in the beginning. And then at the end, they have the reveal where the tethered version of her knocked her out, imprisoned her down there, took her clothes, took that Thriller shirt.
Right.
for whatever reason, took her place. So yes, I think that's a bit of a weakness in that. I mean, so it's a twist. With any twist, it's like, oh wow, I don't believe that.
Right.
But I think I had a hard time accepting that. This, and I don't know, because sometimes a twist ruins a movie, and I kind of felt like the first time I saw it, that I felt that like the twist didn't add anything to it, and it made me think the whole thing was like pointless. But I don't know, maybe it's because, but then I guess if you think about it, I mean, so Adelaide, Adelaide, I mean, if you accept that she was originally tethered, then, you know, since she was very young when she finally came up to the surface, then she had all those intervening years to learn how to talk. And it's the same reason why Red, I guess, couldn't talk, because she could talk before she went down there, but then she had spent so much time underground with all the tethered. She was the only one who could talk.
Yes.
So I guess she lost her ability to talk normally, and that's why she had that scratchy voice, which, you know, you got a theater full of people laughing at the voice instead of thinking, "Oh, I'm so sorry about what happened to her." Or what. So I think that was unfortunate that people are getting the wrong messages from that. But I think this twist was it was hard for me to accept it, and because I think a twist is satisfying when you not only go, "Oh wow, that was crazy," but also when you think back about through the early parts of the film, you can see where it fits, but you can see where the director may have misdirected you. So I go back to things like the twist in The Sixth Sense, which I'm sure maybe everyone else saw coming, but to me, it still made sense that you can still watch the film back again from the beginning and see that, okay, what I thought was this was and I was just misdirected, and that's why I didn't know, and that's why I can watch that movie again, because it still kind of makes sense, even though you're being misdirected the whole film. With this one, it didn't work for me as well. I like I've been saying, I didn't believe it. So I'm not surprised that that's not. It's not. I don't know. It's maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't come off as cleanly or as clearly that she was tethered the whole time. For whatever reason, it's harder to get. And like I said, I didn't believe it. So yeah.
And I felt that it was rewatchable. I think as far as that's concerned, that may have gone a different way than you all, which is great because that's when it's discussion time. But the second and the third and fourth time made me want to see how Adelaide acted, those little nuances that she gave that made you think that she may have come from the other side. Simple things like when they're in the car and listening to I Got Five on it and she's not able to snap on beat.
Snapping on beat.
Exactly. The way that she is so afraid of wanting to go back to that beach because that was where the carnival was or whatever it was when everything happened. But why are you so afraid? And then you find out because she doesn't want that secret to get unearthed. The way that she would look kind of like an animal at times, and towards the end of the movie, and especially when she killed Red, when she really seemed like she was primal. Right. And for you just looking at it before getting that little bit at the end of why she's doing it, you're like, is she just snapping because she just had to kill somebody and everything that's gone through this one night of everything happening? And you find out, no, some of that dark side is starting to come out a little bit. But also I like the way that Jordan put in, spoilers of course, a bit of a false twist, because he had a lot of people thinking about at the end of the movie if the son was a tethered also, because of and so it was several things about it. It was the fact that they said that he had gone missing at a certain point when they went back to the beach with the other couple and everything. Right. And when the twin said something about him always acting peculiar. Yeah. Then it's the fact that instead of him making sandcastles like a normal kid, he's digging tunnels into the sand.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, it's also the fact that Pluto didn't have any scissors. The one with the burned face and with the mask and everything, you know, his doppelganger or whatever. He was the only one out of all of them that wasn't trying to kill his twin, for lack of a better word. He was just trying to be friends with him. It was the fact that Jason couldn't perform his fire trick anymore.
I was about to see. This is what I needed. Yeah.
Right. And it was also the fact that he was the first out of the family to realize that the tethered were the tethered. Remember, he was the one that gave the movie its name by saying, "It's us." When they're like, "Who are these people that are trying to break in?" The rest of them couldn't even see that they looked just like them.
Wow.
How did he already know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end, I mean, I even took it as far as when they're riding in the car, he's the one riding behind his mom at all times. So it's almost like half of the car is that way and the other half are normal. It was the fact that he hid in the locker and heard his mom and Red fighting, and when Red was killed, he came out and he had a look towards his mom like he knew what was going on. Any other boy would have came out like, not only did you just kill somebody, but what was all that she was saying?
Yeah.
He's just quiet. I mean, he could talk, so it's not like he, you know, suddenly lost his ability to speak or to reflect what he felt was going on. So then at the end, when he, you know, pulls the mask down when they're in the car and he just looks like, okay, well, it is what it is. I don't see another child being like that unless they really understood what was going on.
He could just real quick, he could also control himself too.
And I'm glad that you said that.
The whole hand, and then he walked back into the fire of the car being on. Yeah, what was it? So
I'm glad that you said that, because truth be told, Jordan Peele put that in just to see who was paying attention. The truth was, Jason was not a tether. And Peter, I'm glad that you said that, because the truth of the matter is Jason did control Pluto, not the other way around. One other big thing was, and I can see this already, got you like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
the other thing was, look at it this way. Jason was playing with the fire above ground.
Right.
Pluto down below had his face burned because he didn't know to take his face out of the way of the flame. It wasn't Jason above ground who was burned. It was his doppelganger.
You know, see, I think part of what I was missing, that you know, Red ended up talking through all of this, even though while she was doing her voiceover, they did show clips of people doing stuff above ground and it affecting them below ground. I think that would have been a nice scene to see. I don't know how much I want to be my hands to be held in a movie, but what you just said, Javon, if it was something like that, I probably would have accepted this a little better.
Okay.
But I mean, it happened anyway. It was interesting that of everybody in the movie, only Jason like really understood, like I said, the only one who really understood what the tethering actually meant. That was interesting. I don't know if if he had done it and if he had said something to the family and then they all would have got it and they would have all done the same thing. I don't know. Maybe that would have seemed too convenient. But I think maybe what I was looking for was that kind of thing to be shown, maybe more in relation to the main family. Because I never, when you mentioned, I never thought of why is his face burned, but it's because he was tethered to him, and main man was playing with fire, and he didn't know what he was doing, and that's why his face is brown. I didn't put that together until you just said it, Javon. So yeah,
Okay.
so Javon, in this college course that I'm inventing, you have to be the adjunct professor, because it's like things that I was willing to just write off about the film, and it's like, okay, then if that is, and that fits with what even happened in the film,
right?
So I almost feel like that was missing. But like I said, they did do that. They did have scenes of people above ground doing things, people above ground just going through the motions. But I guess I was looking for something that to be connected to the main characters, for it to have some sort of meaning besides just, I don't know, putting a flashback under Red's exposition.
Yeah, exactly. And so hopefully with what I've said, it may warrant now another extra view or two. So I think we've covered just about everything. If there are any scary or creepy moments that there were, I think that would pretty much round this thing out. Anything that you all could think of that at least he did do right as far as horror, or for me, it may have been the whole issue with the home invasion and with not knowing, with hearing your son say, or whoever it was say, there's somebody outside, and you're not thinking anything of it, and then saying, no, they're coming in. That was weird, And maybe the first time that like the twins who were upstairs on the balcony or on the second floor looking down at their parents, and then their doppelgangers came out and attacked them. That was shocking. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the last thing was just Lupita. Anything that had to do with Lupita as Red. I can understand about you saying about the voice that it sounded funny and everything, but for me, the way that her hair looked kind of weird at the end when she's downstairs, down in the pit or the dungeon or whatever, and she's doing this dance while she's talking, and then she's running back and forth and slashing the first one, the main one, and the way that they had that fight where it was offset by the little girl doing the ballet, and so they would be intercut. I like it. It was creepy. It's not a thing that if I turn out the lights right now and watch it, I'd have the jitters. But a couple of those things were a bit creepy. Was it anything for either of you that, did work right as far as what he was trying to do with the fear element?
I can take one. I agree, Javon. I think that editing at that point in the film, I thought that was interesting. The first time I saw it, it kind of bugged me when they kept cutting back and forth to the dancing. But looking back at it, I see what they were going for. So that didn't remain as something that I hated. But one creepy moment that I felt was when they were talking about their kill count. Yeah, they're driving away, and they're talking about the kill count. I killed 3, I killed 4, no, the other one killed. I'm like, these are children saying.
Yeah, and they're excited.
That was really gross to me, but I'm sure it was meant to be. So I felt that was a definite creepy moment. That's the only one that I remember really being creepy. Like you, Javon, I was shocked when their neighbors again all got killed in a minute.
Right.
And yeah, it was a really hard and fast change of tone. So it definitely upped the ante. And there are other films that have done the same kind of thing, where I guess they let you know, oh, it's serious now. So it kind of was. So it shocked me. But yeah, those are the moments that I remember.
How about yourself, Peter?
I hear you guys talking, and I think that this film is more. I think this film is more for for the art, so to speak, instead of a direct. You want to see a horror movie, when Kev, when you're both of you, and when you're talking about the way she moved, their dancing, the movements, how they're talking about the kill count, or how the cinematography looked, or even for me, to answer your question real quick, probably cinematography as far as when you saw the silhouette of them standing at the end of or the beginning of the driveway, the doppelganger.
Yeah.
That probably for me, I mean, you know, just to answer your question real quick, that would probably been the one for me.
Okay.
Knowing how we've all been probably in a home, and it's just for a set. You know, we've all been in a house where it's dark, and you know, who knows, it's stormy or something like that, and you know, just to set the scene, and I don't know, maybe you look out the window and you see something in the distance that you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to have to go outside and to see some silhouette of anything standing in the beginning of your driveway and it's not answering you when you address it, that's I mean, that probably for me was the most scary moment. But like, this film is more probably for, like, you know, like I said, like for the love of the art of film, as far as, because what y'all saying is like the kill count or the twins coming in. I noticed all of that stuff that you guys pointed out, and it was noticeable, but I wasn't terrified. Like, I wasn't scared of that. But when you talk about it the way you guys are talking about it, it's like, man, wait a minute. Yeah, I can see your point. This film is not just a direct, you know, want to get scared, you know what I mean, with the pull of the trigger, and oh my God, I'm terrified. No, it's it's to make you really think about, maybe even consider to yourself what is scary and what shouldn't be, you know, the norm, I guess you'd say. Because who would, like, why your kids talking about, I killed 2 more of you? You know what I mean? You're talking about that stuff, man.
Right.
But, I don't know. I guess to answer your, like I said, that was probably the scariest moment of the film for me. That's just for me. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, movies are polarizing, and that's what makes them so rewarding, so wonderful. You may feel one way, you may feel the other, or you may be right in between. It's great when minds can go together and come up with different discussions about how you feel about particular moments, particular plot points, the rewatchability of a film, any allegory, and anything else that it encompasses. We really appreciate you guys coming and spending time with us. Peter, we thank you for being down with us, and we look forward to have you come anytime you want. Like Willy Wonka, you got the golden ticket. So no doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you love what we did, give us a like. If you feel free to comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? I'm Javon.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Peter.
And this is We Saw That. It's We Saw This, and we saw that, and we saw this, and I'm sorry, man.
If you want to.
I typically can't do this.
Oh yeah.
It makes me kind of nauseous.
She says when Pennywise comes on the screen and is getting ready to say something or do something, look at his head.
When I'm watching a movie, I'm not trying really to turn it into a college course. Right? I want to be entertained.
Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
So Javon, in this college course that I'm inventing, you have to be the adjunct professor because. Who is this person?
Ooh.
Did you leave us, Peter?
I can see him.
I see him. No, some.
Oh yeah, something else is. Oh.
Peter, how many of you is it there? I see 2. You got some long lost twin?
Ladies and gentlemen, the film we are discussing is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Some things need to be talked about.
Come and knock on your door with a movie review.
No, this was a fantastic session, guys. Thanks so much. There you go.